Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial, I want to show us how to cut a corset, okay, a Basque corset, actually a basic Basque corset starting from the scratch. Okay, so we'll be starting basically from how to adapt a basic, how to adapt a basic bodice, and then I'll show us how to adapt it into first of all a bustier, then into a corset. So let's get started. Now, I have my fabric on my pattern table here. This is the fabric I'll be working with here, and then I'll just explain to us how I drafted my basic body. So let's just follow. It's very simple, okay? I'm showing us step by step how to convert the basic bodies into the corset pattern. Okay, so let me just take out my fabric, and then this is a basic bodice pattern here, so I would explain. No worries at all. I'll explain. So basically the first thing to take into consideration is the length of the corset. So the length of the front is 21 inches and the back is 19. Now why is this? Because of our bust in front, you need to accommodate or make provision for the bust in front. So 21 minus 19 will give me 2. So that means the front is longer than the back with 2 inches. Okay, so we need to create a side bust dart on the front. Okay, and the dart on the bust, that's the bust that now will be 2 inches. So that by the time we close the dart, the side will now be 19 inches with the back. Okay, I hope that is clear. So the first line is my shoulder line. Then I have shoulder to chest line. I'm doing 7.5. Okay, then yeah, 7.5 because it's a tube. Okay, then shoulder to my bust point, shoulder to my under bust measurement, shoulder to the length of the corset, which is 21 inches. Okay, we're still going to extend it later anyway, but this is a basic corset, basic waistline rather. Okay, so then the back, nothing serious, shoulder line, chest line, same thing with the front, and then shoulder to the waistline for the back. So for the measurements, very simple. On the shoulder line, I would mark half of my across back measurement. That is your shoulder measurement. So you mark half of it. So mine is 14, I'll mark 7. Same thing on the chest line, I'll mark 7. Then I'll use a ruler to link it together like that. Then I'll mark my neck width 3 inches. I'll come down from the shoulder by 1 inch. Okay, then I'll create my shoulder slant. Okay, then next I'll create the armhole using my armhole curve. So it's as simple as that. Next thing on the chest line, I will mark quarter of my bust plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. Okay, then on the waistline, the dart intake will be 2 inches, as you can see. So I'll add 2 inches to quarter of my waist. Quarter of my waist is 7.5. So 7.5 plus 2 is 9.5. So that's that. Then plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. Okay, and then I'll link it together. Next, I'll mark half of my bust span. Bust span is nipple to nipple measurement. So mine is 8. Half of that will give me 4. Same thing over there. Then I'll draw a straight line. Then I'll link that line to the middle of my shoulder. It's as simple as that, like very simple. Then of course my bust that will start from my bust point line, which is going to be 2 inches. Okay. Then back, nothing serious happening at the back. Just normal shoulder, mark your bust measurement, armhole, everything is the same thing. But the back waistline, the dart intake is 2 inches, 1 inch. So I'll measure quarter of my waist plus 1 inch for that. Okay, then outside seam allowance. Then of course I have zipper allowance at the other extreme end. So the first step is I'm going to separate the front and back patterns. Okay, so that we can work easily. So I'm just going to cut out, like I said, I'll be separating the front and the back pattern. Now, okay, before I do that, the neck depth, I'm doing 8 inches for the depth of my corset. You can go lower than that, but I don't want to show cleavage. Okay, so if I'm doing 8 on the center front, on this shoulder line here, I'll come down by 6 or 6.5. I don't want my bust to be too revealed. Okay, so I'll link that from the center front and then into the armhole. So I'm going to use my French curve to do that. Okay, I'm not a freehand person. I always like to make use of my curves. So so I'll link the first 2 points with my French curve like this, and then link the second point to the armhole like this because it's a tube. It's not an off shoulder. It's not a regular top. It's a tube. So I'm just going to blend up like that. If you want your own to be very curvy, it's fine. Okay, but I'm trying to make something I can wear. Okay, so next thing, I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch on both sides of the that line that divides the shoulder, because it's a tube and you need to sew it in such a way that it will have firm grip on your body. There's nothing holding it. Okay, so um that is why I'm using a dart. Now on the under bust line, I also mark 1/4 of an inch on both sides and I linked it to the waistline there. Then I blended everything together. So now I'm just trying to show us what I've done so far. So I'm going to shade here, meaning I'm going to cut it out. Okay. Now, like I said earlier on, I'm going to separate the back and the front piece here. So I'm just going to trim out all the unwanted parts. Okay, so let's start with the back. The back is the simplest part. So I don't need hair anymore. Okay, I'll just trim it out. Yeah, I'll trim it out. And then I'm still going to introduce like a tiny dart to the back pattern just to have a very firm grip on the body. Your corset is supposed to snatch. Okay, so but this is a basic corset. This is not a full contoured corset. This is a basic corset. Okay, so I've drawn my arrows to show the direction. Now I'll mark 1/4 of an inch on both sides of the darts at the upper part there. Then I'm going to link it back to the dart leg. So this way I've eliminated any form of gaping that might want to appear at the back. Okay, so though for this top I'll be adding a strap because I'm not really a tube person per se, so I'll be adding a strap to it just to like secure it in my shoulder, but you don't have to do that. So if you want to, you can introduce an extra boning, but I don't want to go into all of that. This is basic, so let's just maintain B1 and B2. Okay, for some corset you see so many boning lines even on the back, but let us stick to B1 and B2. This is basic. Okay, let us not jump the gun. Okay, so I'm just trimming out like so. So we're done for the back basically. So this is it. So for this back piece, I'll be cutting 2 pieces each on lining and fabric. Okay, if you want to, you could add stay to the fabric just to give it more stability. It's fine. Now we'll go to the front pattern. The front is also very easy. Okay, so for the front, I will trim out the excesses. So let me trim out the waist dart first. We don't need all of this part here. I'm just trimming out like so. Then when I trim out the waist darts, next is to trim out the excess paper on the waistline, like I'm doing. And then for the bust dart, I'm going to overlap it. You can actually trim the bust dart out and still close it, no problem. But I prefer it this way. So I'll just close it like this. Then I'll make use of my masking tape to close it so that it's not opening here and there. So with this, you can even do a regular bustier with this. Even as in, we've not gotten to the corset part yet, but already this is looking like a tube bustier already. Okay, so I'm just going to blend here. I'm trying to blend it back, and then I will trim the excess on the side seam there. Okay, now before we go ahead to trim the upper part, we need to through the style line on the neckline. So I'm going to close it that like I want to sew it. So after sewing, this is what you're going to experience. You can see that one side is longer than the other. So you need to do what is called throwing or blending. And you need to use your French curve to do that. So you can use any parts of your curve depending on the initial shape you used when you're doing the neckline. Okay, so I'm just trying to show us how you can manipulate the French curve. So I'm using this side, okay, like this. So I want to blend it back to the center front like this. So once you do this, you can see that even without sewing yet, both patterns look equal, okay, because of that throwing. So now I can now cut out. I'm going to cut out. You can see that I'm cutting out on the new line, okay, like so. I'm taking out the excess. Same thing on the other side over there. So at this point we have cut out a tube top. Yeah, so because from a tube top you can convert a tube top into a corset. You can see the way I'm taking us through step by step. Okay, so when I tell people that sewing is step by step, don't try to jump from one step to the other if you're not yet good. Okay, like this tutorial now, you should know how to do basic bodies before you jump into corsets, right? But I think I did justice, to an extent. So now I'm gonna add half inch from the center front. I'm marking half inch away from the center front. We want to create our corset now. Then I'll place my French curve like this, linking the 2 points together and linking into the underbust. Okay, then you need to place your French curve properly as seen, like that, and then I'll label F1, okay, and C1. So I know some of us must have seen different type of corset with different styling. Please don't go there yet. This is basic. Get the basic one first before you start doing many boning lines. This is basic. So I'm marking 1 inch away from the side seam. Okay, yeah, 1 inch away. So then I'll create my C2. So I was saying, most of what must have been seeing all those many styles that has many boning lines, many style line. Please don't jump the gun. Do the basic one first before you start attempting complex style. That is the style. That is the problem an average person has. We don't want to do things step by step. We want to just jump. So this is basic corset, okay? So I'm twerking it a little by making it into a Basque pattern. So before I do that, let me just cut out my C1 and my C2. And this is your 2-piece corset. There's some corset that are 3 pieces, okay? But this is 2-piece. Get the basic first. I always tell people, get the basic first before you jump. Okay, so C1 and C2 is ready. So this is F1, F2. So for this corset pattern, I'll just close it. So at this point, if you don't want the Basque, just this, you stop here and cut your fabric. But if you want the Basque effect, so you're gonna close the bust that, like, sorry, you close F1 and F2 as you've seen. Then you place another pattern paper under and then you tape it down. Now those of you that like cutting on fabric directly, I don't know how you want to do this. So I don't know how you want to do it. Whether you want to waste all the fabric before you now get the final pattern, you have to do this on paper, please. So after I join the pattern and my new paper together, the first thing I'll do is to trace out the original waistline on the main pattern. Okay, I'll trace it out first, then I'll use my tape to come down by 5 inches. So if you don't want that very sharp, like you don't want the bust to be too long, you can do 3, but I'm doing 5. I want it to really be elongated. Then I'll use the curve part of my ruler. I'll link it to the original measurement, not to the seam allowance, please. Original measurement. You can see there. So you can do V, you can do make it more curvy, anyhow you want it. Then I'll just draw a straight line down to where I have the opening there. Then I can now cut out. So my basic Basque corset pattern is ready. Mind you, I said basic, right? So if you're creative, you can have more than F1 and F2. You can have up to F1, F2, F3, F4. Yes, you can have up to that. Yes, but this is basic. I'm stressing it, basic. Okay, so my front pattern is ready and also my back pattern. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and transfer all this to my fabric, and then I would see us in the next class. So here I've already transferred all my patterns to my fabric. I added half-inch seam allowance round except my side seam. So if this tutorial was very helpful to you, please support our channel. Leave your comment and reactions. Don't forget to subscribe if you're a new subscriber or a new person on this channel. And like I said, I'll be posting the sewing tutorial, in a bit. Yeah, but our reaction to this video will encourage me to post the sewing tutorial. So if you don't really react or comment, I'll take it that we're fine with the cutting tutorial, right? So thank you so much for your time and happy sewing. Bye.